Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way Nation. What is going on? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I want to welcome each and every one of you to episode 128. They just keep piling up, don't they? But before we get into anything or anything, let me practice the attitude of gratitude and say thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you who are live with me now as we stream across the Wealth Our Way Facebook and Wealth Our Way Network YouTube page. That's right, new YouTube page, Wealth Our Way Network. Please subscribe. I also want to give a shout out and salute to all the members of Wealth Our Way Nation who watch this program overnight, over the weekend, on their lunch break, pre-recorded wherever they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then a heartfelt how are you to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio recording of this very here program. Yo, we killed it last night, didn't we? This is the Home Buyers Workshop month. At Wealth Our Way, we are 100% committed to building generational wealth in every community, but, in particularly underserved communities that tend to be communities of color, the communities in which I was raised. We want to increase everyone's financial literacy. We want to break down the barriers and the hurdles to access. We want to make sure that on this marble that we all call Earth, especially in this country of America where I broadcast from, that we truly live up to what the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, all of these different documents basically say to us is that all people are equal, all created equal, and all to be treated equally. So I have pledged my life to making sure that, at least for my part, I bring access to everyone. I take the information that I learn on Wall Street. I'm a 25-year vet of firms like Smith Barney, Payne Weber, which morphed into UBS Financial Services, the New York Life Insurance Company. I founded my own firms, Athletic Business Management, the Sports and Entertainment Financial Group, and now Wealth Our Way. I bring all of that experience right here to 15 Minutes of Finance every Tuesday and Thursday, 12:30 Eastern, and every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Eastern, we do the Financial Power Hour where we bring a guest on. And the guest we had last night, shout out to Liz Paris of Movement Mortgage, who was on last night teaching us about all things mortgage, getting through the mortgage process smoothly. Next week, we're going to have the beautiful Deanna Reeves on. She's a realtor. I just can't wait to talk to this young lady. She's doing such big things in the real estate space and beyond. And I'm really looking forward to having her on the show. And then in 2 weeks from yesterday, we're going to have all of the guests that came on during the Home Buyers Workshop on for a panel the last Wednesday of this month. Do not miss it. If you leave this month without knowing what you need to know to buy a home or to prepare to buy a home or to sell a home, I don't know what to do. I can't help any further than that. I can't do any more than what we're doing here because my job, my passion, my commitment is making sure that information that is needed gets to those who need it. So last night we covered a lot about the mortgage process. I got a couple of instant messages. I'm old, so I don't know if people slid in my DM, if they walked into the DM. I don't know how they got there, but they were in my inbox when I, checked my inbox this morning on the Wealth Our Way site, just asking, I got a great question. Someone asked about, are these programs all over the place? And Liz did touch on it, but I want to reiterate it since I got the question. Every state has its own set of programs. As she pointed out, every state has different grants that they're offering, and even on the city level. So she mentioned that there's a grant in the city of Philadelphia so there's the state of Pennsylvania, city of Philadelphia. You can be in programs more than one. And, some of them require you to go through training. And, here's what I have to say about that. There's a lot of people who treat the grant training programs as a necessary evil. They just want to go through the program, get their certification so they can get their check. Don't do that. I can advise you, when I was in college, I treated college that way. I didn't care what I was learning. I was there for the grade. Now that I'm a 51, about to be 52-year-old man, I think back to some of the classes I snoozed through, didn't attend, whatever. And I wish I would have gotten that knowledge that they were teaching, because now I've come to realize that knowledge is so important. Checking a box and being able to say I got an A+ in the history of Western civilization, that's cool. But actually knowing Western civilization history is cooler. And with these housing programs, you are getting knowledge that not only helps you go through the mortgage and the home acquisition process, but you're getting knowledge that prepares you to be a homeowner. So, once again, a little glimpse into Big Tank's personal life. I am currently in Georgia. I am renting a 3-bedroom condo down here in Georgia, and looking for a house. I'm going to buy a house. This is a seller's market, and just I always want to give back information as to what things mean. A seller's market, all markets have sellers and buyers in them. When one side has more of an advantage, has more things in their favor than the other side, they say it's that person's market. So in this case, you got sellers and buyers. Right now, it's a seller's market. Sellers are getting more money than they're asking on their homes. People list their homes for $500,000. Someone who really wants it will come in and offer them $530,000 because they know they're in a competitive market. This is allowing sellers to demand certain things of buyers that they couldn't demand in the past. And as Liz touched on yesterday, one of the things they're doing is they're kind of turning their nose up on FHA mortgages. Not to say that if you have an FHA mortgage, you can't get a home, but the sellers are more interested in cash deals. Now, I'll tell you this, whether it's a buyer's or seller's market, sellers are always more motivated by cash deals. Why? Because a cash deal has very little chance of going awry. A deal where you're getting a mortgage, I come to the table, I say I want to buy your house. I'm committed. I really want to buy it. I'm not going to back out. But if I can't qualify for my mortgage and the seller has taken my word that I'm going to buy this house and be able to close on it, they've now stopped showing other people the home or marketing it to other people. They're listing the home as pending, and then I can't close at the closing table. This jams the seller up. So a seller that knows you have a check in your pocket, that you can pay cash for this deal and you don't have to depend on a mortgage company, they are more attractive to sellers. Also, conventional mortgages seem to be more attractive to sellers than FHAs. And the reason for that, which was brought to our attention last night by Liz Paris of Movement Mortgage, is that FHA appraisers scrutinize properties to a higher level than conventional appraisers do. Now, once again, if I'm a seller and I want to sell my home, I want to do as little as possible to sell the home as I have to do. And that makes logical sense. And if it's a seller's market, I can get away with doing that. In a buyer's market, where homes are not moving off the market very quickly at all, if a seller puts this house up and the buyer comes in and says, this is nice, but I don't like those cabinets. I wouldn't buy this house with those cabinets. A seller may say, I'll change the cabinets for you if you'll buy it, because they're motivated to sell. In this market, they don't have much motivation to sell, because all they got to do is put their property out there on Monday, and by Wednesday, 10 people are lined up asking to buy it. So that's what I mean when I say it's a seller's market as opposed to a buyer's market. It doesn't mean that when it's one way or the other, that the other side can't find good deals and shouldn't do what they're trying to do. Just because it's a seller's market doesn't mean that me as a buyer, that I shouldn't try to buy. If this is the time I need a home, I'm going to buy a home. I think that we learned so much last night. Whenever we talk mortgages, it is always so informative. The parts about credit, I can't speak enough about how important it is to realize that once you start the clock on your mortgage process, that you have submitted yourself. And by yourself, I mean you and your total financial picture, which a large part of that is your credit. You've submitted yourself to an underwriter, and your underwriter expects you. So I always make a couple jokes over here on 15 Minutes of Finance because I think I'm a funny guy. I'm seeing a lot of conversation on social media about filters being used in pictures, which, I don't use filters. I don't even know how to use a filter. But, I'm seeing a lot of gentlemen on Facebook complaining that they go out on dates with women that they've seen on a dating app that look one way, and when they see them in person, they look a different way. And the women were chiming back in that the dudes do the same thing, that these filters change your appearance. Think of filters when you're going to the mortgage table. Don't have a filter on you. Don't send yourself to the underwriter with this filter showing you looking one way, all gorgeous, with your credit intact, your bank records intact, and then show up at the closing table, filter off, and your credit's sketchy, your income is unverifiable. You have to present the same way you show up. So the reality is that once I sign and start to enter into the mortgage process, I need to freeze my credit, as Liz said last night. I don't need to be out getting new inquiries. I don't need to go out and purchase new things. I actually don't even need to use my credit cards the way I would normally use my credit card. So, once again, speaking for myself, I put a lot of transactions on a credit card in a month, but I use my credit card as a charge card, which means I charge all month long. And before the billing cycle closes, I pay all those charges off. People say, why would you do that? That's not using a credit card for credit. Well, it is credit. It's very short-term credit. It's 10 days, 15 days, 25 days of credit. But the real reason that I use it is I'm enlisted in a rewards program. So I'm getting an instant discount every time I use my credit card. Over the course of a year, I may spend, and don't judge me, I may spend $150,000 charging things over the course of the year. And knowing that I'm on a rewards program that gives me $2 cash back for every dollar I spend or whatever, I may get $1,500, $3,000 back at the end of the year. And I paid no interest. So I got a 2% or 1%, sometimes 5 times discount. But when you're in the mortgage process, you don't know when those cards are reporting. Now, in reality, if you're paying your cards off, ProHack, if you're paying your cards off in full every month, the balance should never be reporting because you never have any revolving debt. But I have gotten notifications on my Experian and my Chase Credit Watch apps that my credit usage has increased or decreased. And it's been because I've let the balance turn over, and I've let it turn over at a very low amount, because in order to build your credit, charging and paying off doesn't necessarily build your credit, as well as keeping a small balance every month. So my cards and my services alert me when I actually let a balance roll over. You need to go to the closing table the same way you showed up for the pre-approval process. And that is very, very much something that a lot of people don't know. I used the example last night. You're about to buy a house, so you go out and get a bunch of furniture. That makes sense to us, right? Or you're about to buy a house, you go out and charge the moving service to move from one property to another property. I got to move, right? That makes sense. It doesn't make sense to the underwriter. I'm just here to tell you, they don't care what you charged or why you charged it. However you showed up to get your pre-approval is how you need to show up at the closing table, or there's going to be a problem. So I'm so glad that we had Liz on this week. I'm so glad that we're moving through the home buyers workshop. We have now talked about first-time home buying. We've talked about the mortgage process. Next week, we're going to talk about why it's important to align yourself with a real estate professional, why you shouldn't count on Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com as your end-all to be-all. Use them as tools. I send realtors things that I see on those sites all the time, and then they give me the professional guidance. I'm a professional. I rely on professionals. I encourage you to rely on professionals, and I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of them this month here, 15 Minutes of Finance, the Financial Power Hour here at Wealth Our Way, where our motto always is, remains, and will always be, wealth is not only for the wealthy. Please subscribe to the new YouTube Wealth Our Way Network page, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Take care and have a great weekend.